I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention. Apparently I am live. Apparently I am live. I've never used these countdown feature before. And so I had no idea how it was going to go. But apparently it has gone quite well. Guys, for the first time in a year that I have been bumming around on StreamYard, I've actually learned how to use it. Okay, maybe not all of it. Maybe I don't know how to use all of the things just yet, but I do know how to do things like make a banner that says mount that like button. I feel so accomplished. That took like 3 seconds to learn, and I just hadn't bothered to learn it in a whole year. And I've got other stuff too, but guys, welcome to my Thursday night stream. I want to start doing more call-ins. I have first of all, I have really enjoyed just doing more streaming lately. I enjoy interacting with the chat. I enjoy kind of having a little bit of back and forth there, even though I know I'm like the only one on the video, but it kind of seems like we're having a conversation sometimes. And I've actually really enjoyed doing the call-ins lately. And it's even more a little bit saucy, isn't it? That I don't quite know if I'm going to have a white identitarian call-in. I don't know who's going to call in. I don't know what you want to talk about. I don't know if you like me. I don't know if you hate me. And I kind of just think that that's interesting and exciting. And I think that it's an interesting time. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Now I'm supposed to also be streaming on Odyssey and Rockfin, and I'm not entirely sure the Rockfin one is actually working. So I'm just going to take a second here to try to make that work. I'm not sure why that's not working. But is the Odyssey one not working too? I don't even know. Okay, apparently none of my streams on any other platform are actually working. Did I not set them up to go to those platforms? Hang on a second. Hang on, I may not have set them up to go to those platforms. Well, that would be embarrassing, isn't it? Well, guess what? That's okay then. That's okay. We don't actually I don't exactly know how to go back and fix that now. Hang on, let me see. Oh, wait, I can add them. Save changes. And now, hopefully, we will also be streaming on Odyssey and Rockfin just for good measure. And if we're not, then I no longer have any idea what to do. And really, I don't know who put me in charge of running technology, because that was like a really, 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 really bad call. I'm going to give this one more sec to see if it actually registers. I guess not. Well, whatevs. It is what it is. I'll keep an eye on it, and maybe it'll start and maybe it won't. It looks like Odyssey might have kicked in. Rockfin is in. We are good. All right, guys. How you doing tonight? How you doing? How's everyone doing? So I got a little present. We're gonna talk about some stuff. I'm gonna share some stuff with you guys. I might talk about the story about Kamala Harris apparently being a terrible bully as a boss that's come out. Maybe, I don't know, I might just do a video on that tomorrow. But guys, what oh well, Vic 2.0 is already on his way out, isn't he? Boom. I love blocking people. I do. I don't care who clips it. I love blocking trolls that are not going to provide any tangible value in my chat. Look what I got. This is like literally, I got this a couple hours ago. I forgot that I had ordered it. I thought that maybe we would take a little look at some of the beginning chapters of this book. So, Robin DiAngelo has released her follow-up to White Fragility. It is called Nice Racism: How Progressive White People Perpetuate Racial Harm. Is it any surprise to anyone that it is white progressives perpetuating racial harm? Is it any surprise to anyone that this is the entire premise of this book? Huh. I don't think so. Let's just take a look. Let's just take a look and see. Let me just read some words of wisdom. I promise I'm not going to read the whole thing. I promise I will read the whole thing separately from a live stream and share it with you guys. But let's just read. So her first chapter is called What is a Nice Racist? Let's just kick this off. One evening many years ago when I was in college, I went out to dinner with my partner at the time and another couple. My partner, like me, was white. The couple were friends of hers, but I had not met them before. We planned to meet up at a restaurant. When we arrived, the couple was already sitting at the table, and I saw they were both black. Oh my God. Does Robin DiAngelo own a mirror? No, apparently not. Apparently not. So Robin DiAngelo has just shown up at a restaurant to have dinner and has found herself having to eat dinner with a black couple. At this point in my life, I had no black friends, and I had rarely spent time with black people. Okay, you remember how in White Fragility, we kind of assessed that Robin DiAngelo was like a sheltered little bougie white lady that just hadn't met many black people, and that was why she was probably racist? Well, she just confirmed that, didn't she? She had gone up to this point in her life without meeting any black people or having any black friends. I was excited and felt an immediate need to let them know I was not racist. Okay. If your first inclination upon entering a restaurant and discovering that you will be eating dinner with a black couple is to let them know that you are not a racist, you might be a racist. I'm sorry. Like, this would it cross anyone's mind here if you found out you were going to be eating dinner with a black couple? Like, would the first thought that comes into your mind is like, I hope they think I'm not a racist? Because if I didn't think I was a racist myself, like, why would that thought even come into my mind at all? Okay. To that end, I proceeded to spend the evening telling them how oh my God, check this out. To that end, I proceeded to spend the evening telling them how racist my family was. I shared every racist joke, story, and comment I could remember my family ever making. And yes, I shared these in full, uncensored. Can you believe they said that? I would ask. I wanted to establish that I would never say any of those ridiculous or ignorant things because I knew how racist they were, and I was not like the rest of my family. In the first paragraph of the first chapter of her follow-up to massive success, White Fragility, Robin DiAngelo is telling us that her entire family is racist. Wow. The couple seemed uncomfortable. You think? But obviously, I plowed ahead, ignoring their signals. I was having a great time regaling them with anecdotes, the proverbial life of the party. After all, my progressive credentials were impeccable. I was a minority myself, a woman, in a committed relationship with another woman. I proudly identified as a feminist. I knew how to talk about patriarchy and heterosexism. I was a cool white progressive, not an ignorant racist. I was actually demonstrating how completely oblivious I was. Wait, hang on. I'm going to read that again. Of course, what I was actually demonstrating was how completely oblivious I was. Well, my intentions had... Hang on. Well, I saw myself as a nice person. I don't normally read with these glasses on, is the problem. Well, I saw myself as a nice person, and I would vehemently defended my intentions had anyone challenged me. The impact of my behavior was anything but nice, as I subjected this couple to racism all night. Jenny's getting Yankee with it asked, how do we join the Zoom on Saturday? I clicked the going on button in locals. Do I need to do something else to join the link? This is a great question, Jenny. And for those of you who are also curious about the Zoom on Saturday, you're going to want to become a member of my locals. kb.locals.com/support. Look at that. I know how to use banners again. And the reason Jenny is talking about locals on Saturday is actually, let me do this too. I can even do this. Bing. Not that one. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the other one. Hang on. Here is my locals. And on Saturday, what we're doing is a craftin' bitch. So all of you crafters can come and join the locals, kb.locals.com, and join as a supporter. And you're going to get to join our locals and just hang out with us on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm going to be knitting, and you can bring whatever crafts you want, or you don't have to bring crafts at all. And we're going to hang out. And Jenny, the answer to that question is it's going to be in the normal community Zoom. I just haven't added the meeting yet because I'm a slacker, but I will add it on Saturday. So it's just going to be in the normal Zoom room that we always do our community Zooms in. Yep, Saturday, 4 p.m. for everyone interested in the locals. All right, let's see how Robin recovered from from basically telling racist stories to a black family all night. And for those of you who are just joining, we're reading the first couple pages of Robin DiAngelo's new book, Nice Racism: How Progressive White People Perpetuate Racial Harm. So Robin has just spent an evening accosting a black couple with stories of how racist her family is. And she's just realized that may not have been the smartest thing to do. Throughout this book, I use the term white progressive as a stand-in for a particular strain of whiteness. I am not referring to anyone's political affiliation, such as Democrat or Republican, Labor or Tory. I use the term. So we're inventing definitions again. Oh, good. Another book in which Robin DiAngelo is inventing definitions. Great. I'm not referring to, okay, I use the term to refer to white people who see themselves as racially progressive, well-meaning, and nice. They might call themselves woke or even claim to be beyond race. Let's see. Naruto, watching Lauren Chen's podcast, and apparently Nicole Hannah-Jones' tenure just got approved. I told you Nicole Hannah-Jones' tenure was going to get approved, man. And honestly, it didn't even really make a difference anyway. Functionally, it was exactly the same job. It was just a formality. I knew this was going to happen as soon as I saw the right backlashing against them. The right is like their own worst enemy. Every single time that the right backlashes against something, it ends up going in the wrong direction. They do this to themselves over and over and over again, and I don't understand why they keep doing it. It's so stupid. Anywho, let's see. White progressives are generally on the left side of the political spectrum, but can be moderates, centrists, or soft in quotes, conservatives. Today's white progressives may read The Root and the New York Times and listen to NPR or the BBC as they commute to their job at a nonprofit or tech company. They can be any age. They may have a marginalized identity other than race, and perhaps were in organizations such as the Peace Corps or Teach for America. They may have traveled extensively, speak several languages, and live in large urban cities or smaller progressive enclaves like Asheville, North Carolina, Northampton, Massachusetts, where Jody Shaw is from, and Eugene, Oregon. But because they see themselves as progressives in terms of racism, they do not see their anti-racism efforts as directed at them. They already know all this and are not part of the problem. Thus, they may not involve themselves in anti-racist efforts. If they do, they can be rather self-righteous as they point out racism in everyone other than themselves. White progressives can be of any socioeconomic class, although middle and upper class white progressives tend to offload racism onto poor working class whites. I will address this in the intersection of class more in depth in chapter 11. Folks, I think I'm in for quite a doozy with this book. I will be documenting my reading of this book on Twitter. I will create a whole Twitter thread, just like I did when I read White Fragility, except I didn't do it in a thread when I read White Fragility. I'm not quite sure why, but I will be creating a thread for this one, and I will be doing that. Bing! KB, Dr. Karlyn B is my handle on Twitter, so make sure you're following me on there if you want to follow along as I point out the crazy, crazy shit in Robin DiAngelo's new book that just got delivered to my house a couple hours ago. All right, Lady Hawk, good Lord, this woman needs to get a hobby who actually uses their family's racism as a topic for normal conversation. I think that is a very good question, Lady Hawk. I think it's a very good question indeed. Dragon Water, I think the right keeps backlashing because every time the left does, it seems the left gets what they wanted. No, they don't. The left, see, this is the fundamental problem. The left is the protagonist. The left is proactive. The left is the one setting the rules. The reason that it seems that the left is getting what they want is because the left is the one setting the rules. The right is then, okay, the left, that looks like the right, okay, the left is setting the rules. The right is reacting to those rules. So the right is always going to be running in to the rules that the left have set until the right learns to stop accepting the rules in the first place. They've got to stop accepting the rules. Part of the problem with this whole anti-white bullshit right now is that the right has accepted the rules that the left has inflicted on everyone else. That is entirely what's going on right now. And if the right understood that the minute that they stop accepting the rule book that the right is playing, then they're going to be a hell of a lot more successful. That's when things are going to change. But I don't see that happening because I've tried to explain this to people on the right over and 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 over again. And what they do is they say, Karlyn, you're just acting like a leftist. That's what they do. And it's like, what do you want? Like, I know how they think. I know exactly what they're doing. And you're losing over and over and over and over and over again. So what's worse, that you continue to lose or you take advice from someone who is formerly on the left? I mean, it just makes no godly sense why people aren't listening to this. But if the right, I was thinking about this when I was, these are the things I think about in the shower. I was literally thinking about this in the shower earlier. Joshua tells me all the time, like, or at least like okay. Joshua tells me all the time that you can't pull people out of a prison that they created for themselves. You can't. And usually we have these conversations in reference to like clients that I'm coaching on like a one-on-one basis, because a lot of times what clients will do is they build up these walls around them that are just completely unnecessary, and it prevents them from taking actions that they want to take in their own lives. Joshua will always say, Karlyn, you can't pull people up. You cannot let people out of a prison that they've created for themselves. And I feel like this is exactly what the right has done. The right has created this prison for themselves, and I'm trying desperately to try to pull them out of it, but they don't want to come out of it. They want to stay in that prison. They built that prison for a reason. And, they're just getting angry at me for trying to pull them out of it, even though I'm trying to help them. And if they don't want to listen and they want to keep losing, that's their business. And that's where I'm at with the entire affair. Alexandra Martin, thank you for the super chat. Happy Thursday. This is to put towards those drinks you're going to need for tomorrow. LOL. Everyone mount that like button. Perfect timing, Alexandra. Thank you for that. So what Alexandra is talking about tomorrow is I will be back at 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow for my happy hour live stream where we're going to be watching a training from the author of How to Be an Anti-Racist, Ibram X. Kendi. You're going to be able to find that on this channel. You will also be able to find it on my second channel, Actively Unwoke, because I will be moving happy hour over to Actively Unwoke at some point in the future. But for right now, I'm going to be simulcasting them on both channels just because, I'm really trying to play with a little bit of the content that I'm making, because honestly, like, I need a break and I need to change things up. So I'm going to be doing, kind of the similar content that I've been doing over on this channel. I'm going to be doing more live streams. I'm still going to be doing the short videos about the news and stuff like that. But I'm going to start putting a lot more of my woke related content over on Actively Unwoke, and that's youtube.com/actively unwoke. Here, I'll pop it in the chat. And if you are not yet subscribed to it, this is a great time to get subscribed. That way you can get both. And we'll be watching the video tomorrow of Ibram X. Kendi at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I will be drinking. Victor bought me beer earlier, and so we will get it going then. Deborah says, a rule that all therapists learn early on: people need to take on change by their own agency. You don't have a magic wand to change them. Yeah, I mean, it's true. And sometimes it's really hard to remember, because the thing of it is like, it's like for me, I can see the answer to this so clearly. It's like, it's so clear to me. It's like, you know what it is? It's like one of those times when I suck at chess. I don't know how many of you are really good at chess, but I suck at chess. And I'm always so jealous of those people who can see the chessboard like, 10 moves out and they've got their plan. I think that'd be like the coolest thing in the world. But like, that's what I feel like I can see in this circumstance. I can see like 10 goddamn moves out of what the right needs to do to turn this shit around. And I feel like I'm like, you just need to go over there. You literally just need to go over there. That's all you need to do. You just need to go over there. No, don't go over there. No. That's a trap. That's bait. Don't do it. That's where the left wants you to go. Don't go over there. No, you need to go over there. And the right is like, oh, you're such a stupid leftist. We're going to go over there whether you like it or not. I'm like, you know what, man? I can't help you. I can't. All right, guys, let's get to the main event of the stream, and we are going to do some call-ins. I'm just going to check over on Odyssey and Rockfin real quick. Oh, I'm getting, what are the chats called on Odyssey? like the fire chat or something. I forget what they are. It's the Odyssey version of super chat, but thank you for for the guy who sent me in those chats. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Let's do some call-ins now, because we're going to keep things civil. I don't know who's watching this stream right now. I don't know how many people I'm going to get to call in. I don't know what subjects you want to talk about. I am going to put a link in the chat. I'm going to do this on the YouTube channel only because I want to have more control over it. So if you're on Odyssey or Rockfin, you're going to have to find my channel on YouTube and find the link there. I'm sorry, I'm not managing this on 3 different platforms, but I will manage it on one, and I will manage it on the YouTube channel. And if you want to click on that link, then you can come and join me and talk for about 5 minutes or longer if you're more interesting about any topic you want. You can talk about whatever topic you want. You can ask questions. I will try to give my best answers. We can have a little conversation. You can come on video or not. You don't have to. All you really need is a microphone. But that's what will happen when you join that link. Now, we are going to do a couple rules, though, because I want to make sure, just in case there are any nasty, nasty people that want to come and talk to me, I want to make sure the ground rules are clear. And they're in the description below. On YouTube anyway. And if you're not on YouTube, then you'll listen to them now. But they're in the description below. Number 1, you are invited on my stream as a guest. I reserve the right to boot your ass off my stream anytime I want to, for any reason I want to. And if you come on my stream and like mess around or say something you shouldn't, you're going to get the boot, and you're going to get the boot right quick. And I'm not going to feel sorry for you. I am allowing people to come on my stream. I'm open to having conversations, but you're going to keep it appropriate. And that goes to rule number 2, which is when you come on the stream, be polite. Be polite. Even if you disagree with me, even if you think I am the worst person in the history of the world, even if you think I'm a dirty, dirty leftist, be polite. Be polite. If you are polite, you have a significantly lower chance of getting unexpectedly booted from my stream. Because it is my stream at the end of the day. No one, oh shit. I almost just spilled a whole bunch of soda on my desk. Luckily the fizz went down just in time. No, but if you're polite, I will talk to you about almost anything. But that's up to you. I'm planning for about 5 minutes per caller. If you want to go that long, if you don't, that's fine too. But if we're having an interesting conversation here, like, I'm open to going longer. But again, the minute that you start being rude or talking over me or insulting me in any way or doing anything out of sorts, I'm going to boot your ass off. All right. And lastly, well, that's really it. That was actually rule number 3, that if you're having a good conversation, we might go longer, but that's really up to you. All right. So I'm going to put the link in the chat now. We're going to see who joins. And if no one joins, then maybe I'll just keep reading this new Robin DiAngelo book. Okay. Link is in the chat, and I'm going to pin it on YouTube. If I can find it on YouTube. There it is. I'm going to pin that message on YouTube. And we're going to see. We're going to give people a minute. Oh, good. We've got some. I see we've already got some fun people in here. Wow. Oh, Janice. Janice. All right. We've got my first caller of the day. And Alex, I see you as well. Janice.
Hey.
Hello. How are you?
I am alive and well. How are you, Karlyn Borysenko?
I'm doing very well, and I'm glad to see that you're alive and well as well.
Very. Coffee, it's good for you. Hey, when is Stitch and Bitch?
Stitch and Bitch is going to be on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and that's going to be in my locals for my local supporter only.
I'm in Central. Fudge.
Well, you can still join. You can still join if you're in Central time. You'll just have to join at. You can come. You can Stitch and Bitch. You can do a craft. You can draw.
Yeah, I'll probably be drawing.
Yeah, I think drawing would be great.
Okay, I have a question for you, Karlyn. Sure. Why the hell are you doing that to yourself?
Why? What?
Why are you reading that book that literally made me hurl the entire time you were reading it?
Because I have to. I have to read the book. I have to keep up on what these trainers are saying. I might be doing a little bit of
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was just Oh my God. I'm like, why are you not bending over and retching after every sentence?
Hey, I mean, listen, we know the woman's crazy, right? And it's a sad thing that she's crazy.
Right,
It's a
right.
sad thing.
I understand that she definitely could land a manager position at my place. Jesus.
Well, I'm sure she'd do a horrible job at that, as she would
No,
almost any
she'd
job, I'm
land the
sure.
job. She'd land the job. She probably knows all the buzzwords, and being that she appears to be assigned female at birth, she'd get it in 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No offense, but that's real. That's why it took me 17 years to land a janitorial gig.
Well, that's, but you're in a good place right now, right?
I should be, all things considered. I mean, I got a spiral plush for my birthday. What could be more fitting?
That's pretty awesome. People in the chat are pretty impressed with your Spyro.
That's good, because you're going to get more of that in your PM box soon.
Excellent. Well, he said
with certain things like Prince Valium.
Oh.
And Princess Brooke. And
well, you do send me some great drawings, Janice, and I always appreciate them.
I know, and I wasn't critiquing your reading list. I was just worried about your mental health, because reading things like that could cause your corpus callosum to sever.
Well, listen, I worry about my mental health all the time, particularly when I'm having to deal with Robin DiAngelo. I'll tell you that much. But we're going to make it through. What I like about this book, though, is it's going to be making fun of the left. It's basically going to be making fun of the left the whole time, I think. And so we're going to go with that.
Yeah, but you're the reason why I want to put saran wrap and a bunch of weird cream over my hair so that I can dye it different colors and start spouting off like an idiot.
Well, I mean, let's not do that. Let's not be too hasty, okay?
Yes, but I'm going to put myself through sensory hell for you.
Well, don't do that.
I'm already growing a forehead. Come on.
Well, Janice, do you have anything else for tonight?
I'm going to definitely be there tomorrow. Trust me, I don't know how you're going to get through that one sober.
I think I'm not going to get through it sober. That's the key. That is the key to the equation, is I will not be sober.
Well, if I didn't live in Minnesota, and I was able to pass the bowl around, I'd be reading it with you. Believe me. And someday when this COVID-19 nonsense is over and it's appropriate for us, I'd love to hang out with you at Pork Fest or whatever and slam a few iced coffees and talk some crap.
Well, that sounds like a plan, my friend.
With my notebook full of drawings, of course.
Of course. Well,
don't worry. That whole drawing thing is not just for show. I've been doing that since I was in high school. My friend Steven Naslin taught me how to draw anime style, and it has been driving special ed teachers insane for years.
Well, there you go. Well, we'll look forward to that, Janice, but I'm going to go to some other callers for right now. Thank you for being my very first caller. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for letting me in. Take care.
Yeah, bye. Now, Alex, I see you in here twice, so I'm going to go to the one where I see your face, but I think you were in the other one too, right? Hi, Alex.
Hello. Oh, wow. I'm live.
You are. Now, was that you in the other one as well? Did you sign in under a different one?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure before I booted it from the studio, but what's up?
Nothing much. So you actually just started streaming when I got off work, and the place where I work just released, I think, a critical race theory book for children.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I work at the American Girl store, and I grew up with the dolls. I've had them all my life, and they have this series of books where they'll basically teach. They're called like the Smart Girls Guides, and they basically teach like preteen girls and up like basic skills. Like I had one that was like Guide to Manners, Guide to Money, and they're usually pretty good books. But recently they came out with one called A Smart Girls Guide to Racism and Inclusion.
Oh, wow.
And I was skimming through some of it the other day, and there's some not so good stuff in here. I was actually ranting to my mom about it the other day because it was insane. Okay.
Like what kind of stuff is in it? What kind of stuff?
God, well, I wish I had taken some notes while I was looking at it, but one of the things I remember reading in it was some parts of American society are more racist than they were in the 1940s, and they don't give any. I'm not. They don't give any examples of what. It was like a quiz. I think the answer was, it was something to do with like, yeah, it was like, does racism still exist today? And it's like, the answer was, if you said no, it's wrong, because some parts are more racist than they were in the 1940s, and they don't give any examples of it at all.
Wow. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is we need to keep an eye out for these American Girl books.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some other ones that came out, like there's a climate change one that had some weird stuff in it. Yeah.
So if anyone go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking of trying to buy it and send it to either you, James Lindsay, or one of those guys, but I'm probably going to have to do it like outside the store, because I feel like if it gets out there, they're going to know it's me or something like that.
Yeah, you better not do it. Well, it better not do that. But like, I'm sure I can get a hold of it somehow. I'm sure some awesome viewer will make sure that we get what's in that book to go in and take pictures or something so we can see what's in it. Or don't give it to your kids, but you can take pictures and share it with us.
Yeah, I haven't had to sell it to any parents yet, but like the store I work at's actually really close to Loudoun County, so I'd be surprised.
Oh, Alex, I just lost your sound, so I'm not sure what. Oh, I lost your sound for a second, so I'm not sure what happened there.
Am I back?
You're back now. Yep, I heard that you live in Loudoun County.
I don't live in Loudoun County, but the store I work at is pretty close to it, so I wouldn't be surprised if I had some parents come in one day and they were like, why are you selling this to our children or something like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And maybe that's the thing that needs to happen if there are any parents in Loudoun County visiting the American Girl store. Who knows? But be nice about it if you do it. Be nice and professional and courteous.
Yeah.
Because they can't help they're not in charge of what's being sold at the store.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anything else for tonight, Alex?
No, that's it. Thanks for having me on. I could email you a link to the book on the website if you want.
That would be fantastic. I would really appreciate that. And my email is in the contact info or in the description below. So just go to my website and go to contact. That'd be great. All right, Alex. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Night.
Bye. All right, everyone. As a reminder, if you want to call into the show, you have to go to my YouTube channel. It is pinned at the top of the stream right now. You don't have to come on camera if you don't want to, but you will have to have your audio on. Otherwise, there's no other reason to call in. And I'm just going to take random call-ins. Follow the rules in the description of the chat. I can boot you at any time for any reason. I don't want to have to do that, but I will if you are not polite. All right, next up, we have Rex. Hi, Rex.
Hey, Dr. Borysenko.
Nice to see you. What's going on?
May I call you Karlyn?
Of course.
Oh, good. I'm just on my way. I'm driving, but I'm very careful. But I'm on my way to my board game group. I have a group of people who meet up to play board games.
Oh, wow. That sounds fun.
Thursdays. Yeah, it's a really cool, eclectic group, including there's a guy who he prints his board games. He actually is a board game designer, and he prints them on demand. So.
Oh, that's pretty rad.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to Gen Con this year, so that's going to be awesome.
That's cool. Now, I haven't played a board game in quite a while. What kind of games are you guys playing?
Whatever we can find. I personally am the Kickstarter king of our group, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And just all sorts of random things. We've definitely evolved past Milton Bradley, Parker Brothers, Hasbro.
Yeah.
So it has changed. And I met this group through Meetup a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And some of them had already met each other at Dragon Con or something like that, because they're really good at cosplay and stuff like that. They're a lot more artsy than I am. So, but yeah, that's going to be fun later.
Cool.
But yeah, we get together. It's super eclectic group. I'm the gay person in the group.
Okay.
But
it's always good to have a gay best friend.
Yeah, that's the one. And yeah, so it's it's fun. Well, anyways, I wanted to call your show because I didn't get the chance to really talk at you yesterday, and it wasn't accepting my super chat.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I'll give you money however I can. Did you find yourself a purse yet?
What's that?
Did you find yourself a purse yet? You said you were going to.
Oh, I haven't. No, I haven't found a purse because I've just been so busy and I went to Pork Fest, but I am going out to LA in about a week. So maybe I will find a purse when I'm back out in LA. Who knows? But I will definitely make sure to update everyone on the purse situation.
Excellent, because we want to see it.
I know. Well, I've been perusing a couple places. I was looking actually at a hand painted like this website that gets like Louis Vuitton purses and then they hand paint them. But even those purses like they were way more expensive than the $1,100 that we raised. So
okay. Well, anyways, I don't really have a lot to say, and I'm about to get to my friend's place where we're going to be playing. Right. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out. No need for mayo.
Ah. Curses! Curses!
No,
Curses,
I'm in agreement with you. I'm not a mayo person either. So
yeah, mayo sucks. I got a burger the other day and it came with mayo on it. I was so disappointed. I was like, this looks really good, except for this one feature. But no, thank you for calling in, Rex, and I definitely appreciate the support. And I will keep you updated on the purse situation.
Much love from your Southern gay guy. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye. Oh, this is going well so far. All right. As a reminder, if you want to call in, it is pinned to the top of my YouTube stream, and I hope I get a chance to talk to some of you. All right, next up, we have Paxton. Hi, Paxton.
Hey, Karlyn. Hi from Chicago.
I love Chicago. You guys have great hot dogs.
Oh, yeah. Just don't put any ketchup on them.
No ketchup at all. No ketchup is required. What's up,
yeah,
Paxton?
So I'm glad to get on your stream, and I just wanted to say I saw you and Gothics on a stream with a bunch of other people. I think talking about critical race theory, and I really admire you, and I really admire Gothics. So I would like to see you and Gothics on together more in the future.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely be up for it. I'm a big fan of Gothics. Yeah.
And I also wanted to mention the Olympic athlete who turned away from the flag when the American anthem was playing, and I thought that was just really, really sad, because it's just that, she represents America, and if she doesn't think that the anthem represents her, then why is she benefiting from all the things that America has given her? And so she has this platform, and then she's standing up and saying, oh, I'm going to disrespect, I'm going to turn away, I'm going to put this t-shirt on my head. I just thought that was so disrespectful. And, you can go ahead and comment on that because a lot of people have been. But what do you think about that?
Well, I do think it was disrespectful, but I also want to zoom out and look at the bigger picture on this, because I actually thought one of the most telling things was on her website, which has now been deleted, but she had a picture of herself with the American flag, and she looked pretty proud in that picture, and that picture was from a couple years ago. And so I actually think the situation is really sad, because it looks like this person who obviously worked very hard to get where she was, worked very hard to, train to get to that level, at one point was totally fine with all this stuff, then maybe went to college, got provided some information in college that was not accurate, or like was putting her on this path. And we see this happen all the time where people are fine and then they go to college and college completely ruins them. And that's what led her up to that point, was whatever happened in those intervening years between when she was proud of holding up the flag and when she was standing on that podium. And so I think it's a sad thing thing about like we're not I think we should be focusing more on what happened and how to fix that and what put her in that place, because I think going after this one person, first of all, like she's now been radicalized like permanently. I'll tell you, I would be very surprised after the amount of backlash that she receives for her to have any second thought to what she did. And it's probably just pushed her into that corner further. And so now we have someone that at one point was fine, went through something that radicalized them, brought them out on the other side, and then they got ridiculed for that thing, which probably, frankly, they were just doing what they were always told to do, which is to go to college, to, you know, be successful. I'm sure she got some sort of scholarship to go to college. She did what she was told to do. And I just really wish the focus was more on how we ended up in this situation and less about attacking the person, you know?
Okay, so she was indoctrinated, basically. How do we unindoctrinate these people?
I mean, once people are in that place, that is like the question of the hour, right? But the reality is that we need to make an environment that's comfortable for them to open their mind. And I think that like the environment that we're in right now, where everyone is getting dinged, like you say, if you change your position at all, they're going to come after you for it. This has happened to me in the last week where I didn't even change my position on something, but I started using different language and started clarifying a position, and the right attacked me for something I did in 2019. And it's like, until we get out of this place where we're attacking people for changing their minds or for looking at things a different way, I don't see a whole lot of changing. And that's why I really think that we need to start being much more careful about the language that we're using, because the reality is that we're not going to wake people up on the left until we start creating a safer environment for them to wake up into. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the last thing that I would like to say before you shut me off is I think people should read 1984, the novel by George Orwell, because what CRT is doing, it's changing the language. And George Orwell wrote about this after World War II, and it is happening now. And I just think people should study 1984, the novel, to see how this is ongoing even now. And it's just scary that this has happened in the United States of America.
I think that is a fantastic suggestion. I've actually read 1984 every couple of years for the past several years. I think it's I actually do the audiobook version of it because I just appreciate that more. But I think it's a wonderful suggestion. It has a whole new meaning now, and I absolutely co-sign it.
Yeah, and if you could, that cap that you wear that says "Make Orwell Fiction Again," I wish that you would put that on your merch page.
I should put it on my merch page. Well, if a fan actually sent me that hat, but you're right. I should probably make one that people can buy on the merch page. You're right.
Okay, well, that's about all I wanted to say, Karlyn. I appreciate you, and I'm a fan of yours, and I'm going to join Locals.
Oh, yay! You're going to love Locals with lots of my Locals people here. But nice to meet you, Paxton, and looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better in Locals.
Okay, well, thank you, Karlyn.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, this is going amazingly well so far. I enjoy call-ins. Call-ins are fun. You never quite know what you're going to get. I'm still waiting for that first person to kind of like really throw me for a loop. So don't take that as a challenge, anyone. If you want to call in for the show, it is pinned to the top of my YouTube channel right now. So you can go and get in line. And I'm just going to basically take people in the order in which they call in. And the next up, we have one of my favorite people, one of my favorite Twitter friends, Casper. Hey, Casper.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. What's up?
Cool. Well, I noticed you put up a tweet that I especially like today. I'm a big fan of the 1990 film starring Christian Slater called Pump Up the Volume. I've seen it a million times. And I can totally tell how, you're living out your happy, hairy, hard-on fantasy. You ever get the feeling like everything in America is completely fucked up?
I really am looking at my happy, living, hairy, hard-on fantasy right now. I didn't even think of that, Casper. That is brilliant.
Yeah,
oh my God.
That's totally your life, and it's probably the reason I like you, despite having personality conflicts. You're cool, So yeah, we're both gonna live that out.
I think we are. That just made my night. Now I have to go. I actually have that movie on DVD because you can't even find that movie anywhere, right? You can't even find it.
Yeah, it's rare. Well, I posted on your Twitter. It used to be on YouTube in full, but now it's on there. But it's on there in a playlist in like 4 or 5 minute segments. But it's still there, so anybody can watch it. It's an independent movie, so it's freely distributed by losers like myself.
Yeah. It is a great movie. If anyone has not seen Pump Up the Volume, you need to see Pump Up the Volume like immediately. It's critical.
And Heathers too, which is a certified cult phenomenon. Yeah.
Heathers too, but Heathers is much easier to find.
Yeah. Heathers has been made into a musical, a shitty, horrible SJW TV show, which I won't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
And yeah, all that 90s culture is going to get real big, especially as we become more and more oppressed as a society. But anyway.
Well, I hope so. And that Heathers would never have been made today. Heathers never, how many great movies will we have lost? Like Heathers never would have been made today.
Pump Up the Volume would have never been made today. Way too subversive, way too much freedom, and Lenny Bruce is a personal hero of mine, just as he is the personal hero of Happy Harry Hardon, Mark Hunter, because he could say what he wanted to say. And also wanted to make one point about, how I was a big fan of George Carlin. And I am sure that if he was alive today, he would be irate as hell. And he was a major lefty, but I don't think he would go along with Black Lives Matter. I don't think that he would go along with any of this bullshit. He'd be like, get off my fucking lawn, you assholes. So anyway, that's my piece. That's all I got to say.
All right.
Cheers.
Well, thank you, Casper, for making my night. I will talk to you soon. All right. Bye. Casper is the best. Guys, just as a reminder, please mount that like button for me. Please mount that like button because we have to counteract all the trolls that will show up eventually. I have faith they're going to show up. They're showing up a little less now, but they're going to probably show up eventually. And of course, if you really want to help me out and support the work I'm doing, please join my locals community, kb.locals.com/support. You can do $5 a month. You can do $50 a year. And that gives you access to all of the features in locals. All right. Next up, we have Edward. Edward, welcome to the stream.
Yes. First of all, let me congratulate you for your attempt to get a law passed in New Hampshire.
I tried.
To ban critical race theory, and I'm sorry it didn't work out. I obviously approve of what you tried to do, but I've been following you for a while now, and I've been noticing some things about you. You at one time were a Democrat, and for whatever reason you left the Democratic Party, you joined the Republican Party, then you left them. It's hard to take them seriously. I certainly agree with that. Now you're in the Libertarian Party, and that's problematic because of its third party status. However, I'm just wondering if you are as sick of the two-party system as I am, and if you would like to do anything in New Hampshire to rectify that by somehow instituting instant runoff voting or proportional representation, at least in the state legislature.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be interested in ideas around that. And that's actually something that I've talked to a couple of the state reps in New Hampshire about. And it is something that I know is top of mind for them, is trying to make some changes there. But it's also really, really, really difficult to do. I think that, one of the reasons that I ended up joining the Libertarian Party was, frankly, because I do actually believe, and I believed this before, like I left the Democrats, I became an independent for a long time. I joined the Republicans for about 30 seconds. And one of the reasons that I ended up joining the Libertarians was not only that my vote actually matters in that context, because it's a much smaller population of people, so my vote within their little internal politics matter, but also because I do genuinely believe that there needs to be a third party. There needs to be the two-party system is not going to be a tenable solution if for no other reason than they're both exactly the same. And I kind of had delusions that maybe the Republican Party could change. And I think maybe if Trump had won, well, if Trump was still in office, I should say. I think if Trump was still in office, we would be having a much different conversation. But I don't think it's possible with where it is now. And so then the only option is like you have to try to get a third party to rise somehow. And for all of the nonsense within the Libertarian Party, I do actually think they're making some really good changes. And I think that they're going to make more noise in 2024 than people think.
I just want to let you know that the last time I voted for a major party candidate for president was in 1988 when I voted for Michael Dukakis for president. I haven't voted for a major party candidate since then. In the last election, I voted for Howie Hawkins of the Green Party because I found both Biden and Trump totally unacceptable. I live in the state right next to yours. I'm in Vermont. And
okay.
I'm a very big on environmentalism, and I do believe we're in a climate emergency. And, Noam Chomsky was pushing this nonsense that somehow you had to vote for Biden because otherwise we're going to be living underwater. But we're going to be living underwater anyway because Biden isn't going to do anything about the climate emergency we're in. I was wondering what you thought about it.
I agree with you that I don't think Biden is going to do a dang thing. And I think that, this is one of those areas that I think it's just really a shame, to be honest, because I do think that we need to have more conversations about like sensible environmental policy and how we move forward. But the thing of it is like both sides are using it as a weapon at this point. And this is part of one of the reasons that I think that it is so necessary for a third party to rise, is that it's the only way that's actually going to start to facilitate more reasonable conversations that I can reasonably tell. And I almost like, to the idea that you haven't voted for a major party candidate, like I find it offensive that both of the major parties seem to think that they are entitled to our votes. Like they need to win our votes. They need to do something to earn our votes. Like, as soon as I joined the Libertarian Party, all I heard was like, oh, you're taking votes away from Republicans. Well, guess what? They're not your votes. They're not your votes. And I thought the same thing in 2016 when all of my friends were pressuring me to vote for Hillary, and I finally did get around to it. But my initial stance was I wasn't voting for her. Like, absolutely not. And then I kind of worked my way there mentally out of months of browbeating by my friends. But like, I think that there are more conversations to be had, and I wish people were treating it more responsibly because there's got to be some sort of compromise between like where both sides are. Is my general thought.
I just want to say that I didn't vote Libertarian in the last election, but in future elections, I definitely would vote Libertarian over a Democrat or Republican, not so much because I'm a Libertarian, but because at least they're anti-war, and that's half a loaf, and that's my major beef with the Democratic Party. They're a bunch of warmongers in the Democratic Party. And one of the few things I liked about Trump was at least he tried to be a little less anti-war, but
he did.
He just didn't get there. He could have made sure our troops were taken out of Afghanistan and the Middle East, but he didn't do it. So he doesn't deserve my vote, therefore. So
no, anyway. I completely understand that perspective, and the Libertarians are definitely anti-war. That's definitely something we can say for sure. But thank you for joining me tonight, Edward. It was nice to talk to you.
Thank you. Nice talking to you as well. Thank you very much.
Have a good one. Bye. Awesome. Britt G, thank you. Here's $9.99 since I can't hit that like. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. All right. If you would like to come on the channel and call in, all you need to do is hit that link at the top of the chat on my YouTube channel, and you can come right in. You don't have to come on camera if you don't want to, but we can have a little chat as long as you follow the rules that are in the description. Next up, we have one of my favorite Locals members, Dragon Water. Hi, Dragon Water.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm glad I'm one of your favorites.
Of course.
I wanted to say, I come from all of this critical race theory, and from a largely a media perspective, comic books, video games, series is kind of a lot of the stuff that gets to the children first.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something we've been trying to fight there for the last 10 years. Yeah, well, more than 10 years probably, but every time anyone tries to say no, they're labeled racist. They try to create their own thing, and they're blocked. So, do you have any ideas on how to?
Well, the first thing I would say is that people have just got to stop caring about being called racist. They just have to stop caring. Like, it's kind of like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, I mean, that's kind of how I would approach it. It's like people have just got to stop worrying about this. But in regards to being blocked, I actually frankly think that I don't think as many people. Well, okay, let me clarify. Let me make sure I'm really speaking specifically. It is absolutely possible to produce content without getting blocked. It is. Like on my YouTube, almost every single thing is monetized, and the very few things that are not monetized, like they probably had to do with, like, anything I've only gotten a strike about had to do with COVID, and so that kind of sucks, right? But I can avoid that content if I want to. I don't even have to engage with YouTube in that manner if I don't want to, or it might have to do with like harassment or things like that. But I know very specifically what I'm going to get demonetized for, and I know what I'm going to get blocked for. And I think that a lot of times, again, this kind of goes back to the idea of, I think the right needs to be more strategic. They need to be thinking about how they can advance their values in a way that is not purposefully antagonistic of what's going on. And that way, if they do get blocked or they do get banned, then they at least have a leg to stand on to say, like, this is ridiculous. Like, I think a lot of people will go to bat for something that is obviously a ridiculous censorship issue. And there's a lot we can choose from. But I sometimes think the right gets a little too antagonistic about these things because they're trying to prove a point, and I don't think it serves them well.
Okay, first I'm going to say I'm not actually right there, but
I know. I'm just speaking generally. Yeah, I'm just. It's like the best categorization that I have.
More of like the most recent example, the company that originally created Dungeons and Dragons is trying to make a comeback.
Okay.
And they've already been blocked from the major gaming conventions, and they haven't even started setting up again.
Why were they blocked?
I think it has something to do with something the father of the person who's going to be running the new company said.
Well, then they got to find another way.
Yeah.
But where there's a will, there's a way, right? They could they could do stuff online. They could take advantage of being blocked. They could make it into this, like, we're a whole, like, we're censored marketing campaign that would go viral. So everything always has an opportunity, right?
Secondly, I'm going to say Joshua was wrong the other night.
What was he wrong about?
Champ and the Loch Ness Monster do exist somewhere.
I think so too. I think Joshua was wrong as well. That's okay. That's okay. Joshua is sometimes wrong.
Yeah. I had to go there. Sorry.
I can't believe he didn't know who Champ was. I was mad about that. I was like, you grew up in Boston. Like,
yeah.
Well, we'll have to rub it in next week. How about that?
Sure.
All right, Dragon Water. Anything else for tonight?
Not that I can remember.
All
Have
right.
a nice night. Bye.
Thank you. You too. All right. Well, we've got a couple more people in the hopper for right now. But guys, if you are enjoying these call-ins, please make sure to mount the like button and do all the appropriate things. If you want to call in, the link is at the top of the channel. You can talk about anything you want, as long as you're polite, or I will boot you off the stream if you are not polite. All right, next up, we have Amy. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Dr. Karlyn. I'm like a real big fan, and I'm kind of nervous.
You have a Mises Caucus hat on.
You betcha. I put it on special for us. So I've been on your locals for, I don't know, maybe 6 months.
Yay.
Ever since what was it that caused you to really promote locals? It was a couple months ago that
January 6th probably was the big one.
Yes. And I'm Crystal Skulltuna on your locals.
Yeah.
And then I'm post as Amy T, the little green guy on your YouTube.
Oh,
so
right on.
I'm really trying to promote locals for a lot of people that a lot of people are getting censored, and I've been really following Brett Weinstein and his demonetization on YouTube, and he's
That's
now
crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
So, and I just feel like those of us who are refusing the vaccine, I feel like we're treated like second-class citizens. You know, I'm taking ivermectin as a prophylactic, and the fact that we're treated as if we're not doing anything, and my husband is choosing not to take anything, and so I think people should just do what's best for themselves. And I mean, I'm wondering so I've been really kind of focusing on the kind of COVID and vaccination versus and other treatment possibilities, and I'm kind of wondering. I probably shouldn't ask you what this is for fear of for fear of
demonetization.
Yeah, so maybe
don't get me demonetized, please.
Yeah, maybe I'll just stop there. But
if you want to ask me a general question, I'll try to answer it. A very general question in which we're not saying any medical specifics. YouTube, or giving any advice. We're giving no advice here. We're just two girls chatting.
We'll just bring it back that I what I really like about you, Karlyn, is I'm an artist too.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And I'm also a former liberal who's on the spiritual side. This is what really drew me to you. I've never been I've never voted Republican. I reluctantly wrote in Tulsi Gabbard last. I just couldn't bring myself to do Trump. And while I don't have Trump derangement syndrome, I did for a very long time. And I discovered you through your famous article that went viral. So I kind of been following you ever since. And I love New Hampshire. I've been up there once. I'm from California, and I'm moving to Las Vegas. So, hey, if you end up going to the national convention in Reno, I will be living there by that time. And
I am 100% going to Reno. I don't know if I'll be a delegate or not to Reno, but I'm going either way. I don't care.
Definitely do a meetup. I would love to hang out. And, I don't know. Did they talk about freedom cells at all at PorcFest?
Not really. What's that?
So that's what like John Bush and a lot of the Freedom Cell Network folks are putting together. So people who are going in libertarianism, going toward agorism, which is just opting out and kind of dealing with like buy from each other and support each other's businesses. And the Freedom Cell Network, you want to community is really important. So you just get to know people in person. And, so like if you want to buy raw milk or regeneratively farmed meat or anything that might involve needing a license or USDA approval, you kind of sidestep that and go straight to the person. Like maybe I want my hair cut and someone can come over to my house and I pay by crypto and they don't have to pay tax,
right?
That kind of thing, so I want to get more involved with that. So freedomcells.org is that website.
Excellent. A good pimp indeed. Well, are you going to come to PorcFest next time, do you think?
I will try. I mean, I'm kind of in a new job, and
I got a whole year.
It was kind of hard to do that, but I'm hoping next time.
Well, I think next year is going to be off the charts, and you should definitely make the trip. And I will make the trip to Reno, but you should make the trip to New Hampshire.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. K, and I'll see you around on Locals.
All right. Thank you for joining, Amy. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. That was fun. Okay, guys, we got 2 more calls right now. If you'd like to call in, the number or the link is pinned to the top of the chat. I do see some questions in the chat asking if you need to have a StreamYard account. No, you don't. You're good. You're good. You just pop right into the link. You put your name in the box. You decide whether or not you want to turn your camera on, and then you wait in the waiting room until I call you next. And the next one we're gonna call is a return visitor to the studio who I see has been like logging out and logging back in, but I recognize the mask. I thought he was a troll last time, but he's not a troll. Raise the black flag. Welcome back to the stream.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, did he freeze? Oh no!
Yeah, not a troll.
No, not a troll.
Yeah,
Not a
my
troll. He's got a
internet
cool mask.
still sucks.
What's going on tonight? Oh. I hope his internet works. I enjoyed the chat I had with him last time. All right, well, raise the black flag. It seems as though he's frozen, so we're going to remove him from the stream for right now. If he comes back, we will add him back to the stream. And let's see. In the meantime, we're going to bring on the other caller that I have waiting, and that is Reb. Hello, Reb. Oh. Reb, do you want to come off mute and chat?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry about that. I wasn't responding.
That's okay.
So I wanted to thank you and not thank you at the same time.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Oh, Raise the Black Flag is back. We're going to remove Raise the Black Flag for right now. We're going to go with Reb, and then I'll come right back to you, Raise the Black Flag, I promise.
Go
ahead.
Sorry, I didn't want to interject.
That's okay.
But so I wanted to thank you for doing what you did so far in trying to teach people and educate people about critical race theory. It's been very helpful to me, which unfortunately has been the downside of what I want to not thank you for, because I'm now in discussions with my diversity and equity inclusion manager at my company.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to go through all the processes first. They did what all the other companies are trying to do. What my wife's company did is first they put out not training, because that would be against an EEOC thing. But instead they just put out these pamphlets that say, here's a bunch of links. Here's some resources that will help you understand. And of course, white fragility, Ibram X. Kendi, Smithsonian being anti-racist, stuff on it that's absolutely, anti-Western culture, anti-race. I mean, it's, as you said, it is racist. And that is the way I have been trying to fight it. Because if you go in and say, oh yeah, it's anti-white, they're going to look at you like you're some weirdo white supremacist dude.
Right.
You can't.
You can't do it. That is a bad strategy.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I wanted to say I am not thankful for is, in order for me to know what the heck I was talking about, I actually had to read White Fragility.
I'm sorry. I tried to take the bullet for you.
I know your discussion with, what's her name? I'm blanking on her name right now. The one who created it. Robin DiAngelo.
Yeah.
Where she actually, you displayed her seminar. That was the first kicker for me to go, okay, I got to read this thing. And it was a harder read than Ayn Rand's books. I mean, Ayn Rand, sure, she's got a lot of...
She's got the 60-page soliloquy.
Ayn Rand was the first book where I literally threw the book against the wall, because regardless of how much you may or may not agree with it, it is so verbose. The second one people may hate me for was Lord of the Rings, because it was just really, really long and descriptive. And but anyway, yeah, I had to read that, and it's frustrating how much she just goes in circles, redefines racism. And the lady I spoke to, she actually said, yes, she redefines racism. So even though she says all white people are racist, it's not really racist.
Right.
And you have to come back saying, but even though she describes things that are racist, being white means you are inherently anti-black. It means you are oppressing people. She is describing the colloquial term of racism without the fuzzy logic of socioeconomic, collusion and oppression. It's that's what I've been trying to approach and saying, here's how it's racist. Here are examples why it is absolutely racist and un-American. As a veteran, I can use that. But it is just very, very frustrating. I mean, these people honestly believe it. I asked her if she read it, and she did. And she believes
They really do. They think that book is great. I don't understand it. Like, I very nearly descended into madness in the reading that book. And I'm not the only saving grace about this book is that at least it's going to be making fun of the left for the whole thing. It's basically going to be telling the left that they're racist, which is true. And so I think it's going to be a little less painful to read this one, but I'm sorry you had to read it. I'm sorry you're in discussions with your diversity people. That's not an easy place to be. but just, keep in mind, like, you got to keep it in perspective, right? Like, sometimes it's better, especially when it comes to your job, to just kind of grin and bear it and to like smile and nod and to say the things that they want you to say. And you have to be the best judge of that. I don't like giving people advice that might lead to them losing their job. So it's just a matter of like, your situation better than anyone else.
Yeah, and I fully understand that. But the way I'm trying to approach it is they have all these links on this one side, and all of it's far left. Some of them are kind of neutral, but all just far, far left that have no business in any kind of engineering environment. And that's
Right.
why I'm trying to approach it and saying, all right, you want to show this side of the culture? You got to show the other side of the culture. So unfortunately, I was going to recommend one of your videos, but I couldn't find anything that was along the way that they were doing, like very straightforward explanation of anything. I mean,
Right.
without like all the, I wouldn't say snark or walking through, nothing disparaging.
Yeah,
you, but,
I definitely
I
have
had
been
to
a
link
little
to things
snarky
like
lately.
Jordan Peterson and stuff.
Yeah. It's not appropriate for the work.
Yeah.
My videos are not appropriate for HR. Let's just be honest. They're not.
Yeah. But they were a very good kicking off point. I was able to link to things like Jordan Peterson, Thomas Sowell, and even including Jordan Peterson's The Critical Race Theory is a Marxist Lie, made a year before her book comes out. So they can't even say it's a response to it.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
I've just been trying to read up on this as much as I can to fight it. And if I can get some of those anti-CRT links next to the CRT links, I will at least call that a win. And then I'll obviously keep looking on the lookout for it. But that's what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely. And, I am going to be working on more like kind of tame videos for people who want that sort of resource. And that's actually what my second channel, Actively Unwoke, is going to be about. It's going to be about more just like, educating about like what this is and different strategies for like what you need to do. But no, I mean, I think that, take the small wins where you can. If you can get those links side by side, I think that is a fantastic win. Don't underestimate it.
Yeah. All right. That's basically what I wanted to say. I wanted to say thank you. And I'm sorry I had to read that dang book.
That's okay. You made it through. You're on the other side, and you lived to tell the tale. And I'm glad it didn't turn you into a pod person.
All right. Thanks. You have a good one. Yep. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. All right. We're gonna go back to Raise the Black Flag now. And we got a couple more callers after that. Raise the Black Flag. Welcome back. Hopefully you're not. Oh no, is he frozen? No. Oh, there he is. Okay. How's your internet?
Bad.
Bad? Oh no.
Like, it's very bad.
Oh no.
Telling me I'm still backstage when I'm not.
Well, I can hear you.
You're
I can
still
hear you.
Frozen.
Oh no.
I can't hear you whatsoever, so I don't know if you're talking right now or what you get through, but it's
what could
bad.
Possibly go wrong?
Like, it's bad.
What could maybe?
Oh no.
Oh no, he's frozen again.
No.
Oh no. Oh, there he goes again. Well, hopefully, if he keeps trying to come back, we'll keep trying to get him on the stream. But for right now, if you want to call into he's right back. Okay, hang on. Let's see if he logs in. We're going to try to do it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah? We're good? We're good to go?
Okay.
What's going on?
Good. My internet working? Yes. I can.
Say it quick. Let's get it in quick. Let's get it in quick.
I have no clue how long my internet. I have no clue how. Yeah. For now. Well, besides my internet sucking so much that it literally kicks my phone off the Wi-Fi every time I try to talk to you about any of this or whatever in the world I'm going to say. I don't know. I don't know if it's me or whatever, but maybe the government doesn't want me to say anything.
Maybe not. Maybe you're subversive.
Maybe you never know.
Well, what do you want to say tonight?
Well, I saw some of the things okay. So this is probably going to piss a lot of people off.
Ooh.
And it's not my intention. But there is some things misconceptions about like this whole Palestine-Israel stuff in particular.
Okay.
I'm not going to go too much into detail with it because like it is an absolute rabbit hole whatsoever. Like it is a complete dumpster fire of a mess and confusing that, well, okay. So basically to simplify it, there does seem to be, from what I've noticed, some people on the left and the right, that there's a lot of people who don't know a lot of various things about it, and there's a lot of confusions, misinformation, so on and so forth about it. Like, for example,
Mm-hmm.
Israel does some pretty terrible stuff to Palestinians.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
it's some evil stuff, and yeah, and at the same time, with like some of the things like Palestine attacking Israel, it's like it's all one of those complicated things where it's never easy.
Right.
It's like kind of like yeah, like kind of attacking them, sure, but with like rockets that are made out of garbage, literally, like the most primitive kinds of rockets you can imagine being made in a garage of someone's internment camp. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
sketchy,
Right.
both sad and funny, really. But
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, again, I'm not wanting to go too much.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I generally think like
but
my position on it is like I'm staying neutral in the whole thing. Like I can see both sides of it. I don't think that
same.
either side. And it's like it's
Yeah,
like I like my big thing is like I think Israel has a right to exist, and I don't think that they should be bombed. I
same,
also think
same.
that there should be more reasonable conversations to be had. I also think the Palestinians do some bad stuff, and I
Exactly.
think that there are also there's also ways in which the
Oh yeah, they
Palestinian
do.
people have suffered, and it's like it's just such a clusterfuck of a situation.
Exactly.
And I always feel bad
Exactly.
commenting on it because I'm
Exactly.
gonna piss someone off no matter what position I take. And it's
Oh,
like,
same. Oh, same.
you know,
No,
and I
I
don't
get
want to do
it.
that.
I get it. That's like I get and understand it because like your bread and butter is CRT, focusing on that compared
Yeah,
to like me, my whole shtick is like war. I hate it. I
yeah.
despise it. It's one of the things that tortured my grandfather and
Mhm.
so many other people in my family. So like that's my bread and butter there. CRT
Yeah,
is also very, very evil as well. Like
totally. And
there
it's like,
is like
go ahead, go ahead.
no, you go.
No, I was just gonna say,
Oh,
like, I mean, I'm extremely anti-war. Like, I do not like, I mean, that's part of why I
yeah,
joined the
I get it.
Libertarians, to be honest. Like, I'm extremely anti-war. I don't think we should be involved in any of it.
Fair, same.
And it's just like, I just don't know what we
Yeah,
can do right
same.
now, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things to where I'm basically along the lines with it. Like, look, Israel does some terrible crap. Palestinians, or at least like some terrorist groups or whatever, people like Hamas or whatever, they retaliate, and it, because of propaganda, various states or whatever, like the propaganda we have here and what they did with Trump supporters, for example, it
Mm-hmm.
gets distorted, it gets confused, and it turns
Oh, oh no, I think we may have lost him. Oh no.
more people against them does for them. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, um, but yeah,
Well,
anyways,
I think you're
you
back,
hear
but I
me?
think yeah, I can hear you, but I think we might be on the verge of losing you again. So,
Uh-oh.
um, is there anything else for tonight before we move on?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, I think we lost him.
Uh-oh. I said too much.
Oh no!
I said
Oh
too
no!
much.
Oh
No, I said too
no!
much about war. Ah, crap. No, no, no.
All right. Well, raise the black flag. It is always a pleasure to
I said
have
too
you
much.
on. Yes, it is always a pleasure to
Uh-oh.
have you on, and I'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time, all right? All
Uh,
right. Have a good one, my friend. There we go. We're gonna get him. We're gonna crowdfund for him, and we're gonna get that. We're gonna get the man some better internet. We're gonna get him some better internet for next time. Okay. All right. We have 2 more callers right now. I am open to taking a couple more calls beyond it. I don't want to go much beyond 10 o'clock because I got some stuff I got to do. But I do have some more room for some additional callers for right now. If you want to call into the channel, have a conversation about whatever you like. The link is pinned to the top of my YouTube chat. As long as you're polite, you can talk about whatever you like, and I'm open to taking any callers. I kind of am a little disappointed, to be honest. I'm like a little disappointed that 2 people have challenged me to a debate in the last 24 hours, and we have 0 representation so far from those sides. I'm a little disappointed, but we can maybe still cross our fingers and hope. All right, next up, we have Dr. Deb. Hi, Dr. Deb.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, good. In your locals group, I'm Piper Mom.
Oh, all right. It's always so funny to actually see like the locals' names come to life in person.
Yeah, and the whole idea here is that you have a face to match with the name.
Mm-hmm.
And just to give a little background, I'm old. I'm 66. But when I was like your age, I was you.
Oh, really?
I have a PhD in cognitive psychology.
Ah, good.
I worked as a consultant in a company that did interface design and learning research and all sorts of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had kids and I homeschooled my kids for
Good
like
for you.
10 years. And then I retread as a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And so was a psychotherapist for 10 years too.
Wow.
So what I came on to say was like, I remember that I'm in the middle of reading James Lindsay's book, and I'm remembering that back before the sort of point where he says CRT started, there was a whole lot of other history going on.
Yeah.
Because if you start looking in the like 1940s, 1950s, the Communist Party of the U.S. was already trying to promote racial conflict. Instead of saying the rich versus the poor, they were going race versus race, basically, and pushing that. But they didn't have any theoretical underpinnings until the 70s.
Right.
And I remember being in a lecture in about 1978 on semiotics, the power of language and how one can use language to manipulate people's thought processes, because of cognitive psychology.
Right.
And those were the examples that were being used in this lecture.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So when I'm seeing them saying it started like in the 80s and 90s, I'm thinking, no, it's got a whole lot of history before.
Yeah. And when I say critical race theory started in the 70s, what I mean is like the thing that started in law schools. But yeah,
Right.
you're 100% correct that the language was already leading up to that way, way, way before. Yeah.
Right. And it was starting in Europe.
Yeah.
Before that, the various philosophical schools in Europe who were talking about language and the use of language and how it could make changes in society. That's where it started first. And then it came over here and then got into the law process.
And here we are today. It is integrated into everything. We're in quite a mess, aren't we?
Yeah. And I have 2 kids, one's 28, one's 26. The 28-year-old was indoctrinated when he got into college. And he now works for a company that's woke, very woke. He works for Microsoft.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, they pay him lots of money.
They do pay them. They do pay them well.
Yeah.
They don't have a great work environment, but they do pay them well.
Oh, well, at least for programmers, he only has to work 40 hours a week. So it's not too bad.
Yeah. Is he working from home now?
Yeah, he's allowed to go back into his office, but he only lives 5 minutes from his office.
Oh, okay. So that's not so bad then.
Yeah. But my other one, my daughter went to Penn State and she wasn't indoctrinated.
Really? That surprises me because honestly, like I know a lot of people from Penn State. Like Penn State was a school that I had a lot of contacts at, and they're pretty woke. So that's a miracle.
Well, maybe it's just her mindset. It's like she doesn't trust anybody about anything like that, and she once asked me, "Okay, Mom, what's a microaggression? And we've got this one Asian group saying this other Asian group is doing microaggressions against each other, and I don't get it."
Mm-hmm. It's so dumb, but thankfully she escaped it.
Right? Yeah. She's the kind of person that says, "This person has one kind of shit, talking one kind of shit. This one's talking another kind of shit. I'm going to vote for the one with the glitteriest shit."
Yeah. Excellent. Well, Dr. Deb, anything else for tonight before we hang up?
Not really. I just wanted to introduce myself because I make comments every now and then, and I just wanted you to have a face to go with the comments.
I appreciate it. It always makes a difference when I have a face. And please make sure you come to like some of our community Zooms or a book club, or we're doing a Stitch and Bitch on Saturday. Would love to have you.
Well, I came to the debate, but I was late, and unfortunately, the Zooms on Tuesday, I'm a member of Chorus that meets at 6:45, so it's like, and on Thursdays, that's kind of iffy, but I'll try.
Yeah,
but I'm planning on the Stitch and Bitch.
Yay!
Because I paint.
Oh, excellent. I would love to have some painters on the craft and bitch. We have to even though Stitch and Bitch rolls off the tongue, but it's an inclusive crafting project.
Sounds good.
Well, Dr. Deb will try to see you on Saturday then, okay?
Okay.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thank you. You too. Bye. All right. Well, we got some callers lining up. I do see a friendly debate caller, and I'm looking forward to getting to that one. But before we get into that, guys, just as a reminder, Dr. Deb is a member of My Locals community, as are many people in the chat right now. You can be a member of My Locals community too by going to kb.locals.com/support. It is the happiest place on the internet. We have no trolls because that's the way Locals runs. But maybe we'll still get a troll. I still have hopes that I will get at least one troll caller before the end of the call-in show tonight. But for right now, we're going to go over to Catherine, who I don't think is a troll because she looks very nice.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, I came across your YouTube channel.
Oh, good.
Looking for information on CRT.
Mm-hmm.
And I was raised a Marxist.
Really?
Yes. Like studying Maoist China, Karl Marx, Lenin. I mean, pretty much everything.
Wow.
Yes. Interesting dynamics. Like my mom's a hardcore Catholic. I mean, I hope not to upset anybody, but my dad's an atheist. Mm-hmm. And he just seemed very disenfranchised, very unhappy with his life. And all I remember was just learning about America's really bad and everyone else is super. So I kind of fought it. I didn't think America was, as bad as he said, but I kind of just bide it for some time. I voted for Barack Obama.
So did I.
Was it? See, I'm a recovering voter, right? But I finally came to terms with how I really thought. I feel like I'm more of an independent, but I have conservative values that don't really align with where the Democratic Party has gone. I felt like left behind. And I am religious now, which he didn't really like, but the rest of my family is still stuck in the Marxist kind of view. I mean, a lot of my brothers are highly intellectual USC graduates in the social work arena, and they're all about groups like Mecha. I don't know if you've heard about them.
No.
But they're a club, and it's mostly about brown power. It's a Hispanic version of the Black Panthers. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it totally makes sense. I'm tracking.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's how my family is. So now with CRT, I've been reading and trying to do as much research, but it's so hard to find exactly where it went wrong. You know, from the studies done in like the 70s, right? It was a toolbox, or at least that's what I thought it was, in terms of like interpreting how law affected different races. I mean, just in a nutshell.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, essentially. And now it's morphed into this crazy vindictive weapon.
Yes.
And
I agree.
no matter how much I put in front of them, it's like, no, CRT is civil rights. CRT is American history.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. Like they are really in a whole nother bubble, no matter how much I put in front. I even put in, you had another homeschool mom. And I forgot her name, but I subscribed to her channel.
Deb Philman.
Yes, her
She's
exactly. I'm a
Yeah.
homeschooler too.
Oh,
I
wow.
homeschool my kids. Like I made a like 180 turn. And so I homeschool my kids. At first it was just because of Common Core, not, you know, religious convictions or anything. It was just, I don't think Common Core is a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it really dumbed down a lot of the students, held back students that were doing really good. And I was part of the PTA at our school for my daughter for a really long time. And so I can see the shift of Common Core just coming in, and it resembled what I grew up understanding.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, I've heard that over and over and over again. Like people who grew up with this stuff, they recognize it. They're like, this is too familiar.
Exactly. It's like, no. We don't want to do that. No. And just separating parents from students as much as possible. You know, you got the free breakfast now in school. You got the free lunch in school. You got a warm supper at school. You've got frozen meals sent home with the students sometimes on Fridays.
Really?
Yes. Los
Wow.
Angeles School District. So you've got the school essentially providing everything for the student, including healthcare, or at least what they call healthcare, right? So you've got a disconnect between the student and the parent. And I think that's intentional. You know,
I think it is too. I think it absolutely is. They're trying to keep the kids in school as much as possible. And
Right.
like even you'll see articles from teachers talking about how like they're their kids.
Yes.
Like no, they're not. They're not your kids. No, they're not.
Yeah, it is a little strange. But yes, so CRT. I had a question.
Sure.
Okay, so I produce, you know, like Kendi, right? I say, why don't you check that out? Tell me what you think. And they're like, oh no, there's nothing wrong with CRT. We got to get rid of whiteness. We've got to do all this. I kind of feel like there's no point in me trying anymore because I've been called a white supremacist. I've been called.
Well, you look very white.
Oh yeah, super, right? As I'm making my tortillas at home, I look super white. But how would I begin the conversation and produce what they call leaders in CRT? What would be an official, you would say, somebody to go to, undisputed? This is someone who has authority in explaining CRT.
You know, it's funny. So within that world, it kind of shifts and changes, right? I mean, basically, like if you had asked them like a year ago, they would have been like Robin DiAngelo and Ibram X. Kendi would be cool. And now we're getting to the point where they're kind of throwing them away because they've gotten way too toxic. And so it's almost one of those things. So what I hear you saying is that you want to have a conversation with your family about what this actually is and how you perceive it. And I think how I would probably approach it is, first of all, you have to disconnect yourself from having an expectation about having any sort of outcome at all. Like you have to disconnect from that outcome because you can't force them to change, right? They have to want to open their minds. And if they don't want to do that, it's like you can do everything in the world and it's still not going to work because they're not in a place to receive that information, right?
That's right.
And the only thing that we can do to help people get there is to make it comfortable, because going through, like, especially if they raised you in this ideology, they're pretty ingrained, right? So yeah, like look at it from their perspective. Essentially what you're asking them to do is to give up everything that they have ever known. And I bet you know, because I think you have some experience with this, if I'm understanding correctly. When you realize that everything you know is a lie, that is insanity.
It is.
And it's
I'm
a
still
difficult
recovering.
thing yeah, it's like I am too. And it's like it's a really difficult thing to go through. And I think that a lot of people, they just want their relatives or friends to just wake up like that. And
Yeah.
that's just not how it works. Like for me, it took months and months and months. And and I feel like I went pretty fast, but it was still really hard on me. For most people, it's going to take them a lot longer. And I think it's just a matter of like you showing up, maybe even relating it back to like your personal stories of like, here's why I chose to homeschool, or, here's how I think that this affects me. And here's why, like, because I think that especially when we're talking about family, like, I think they're going to relate to you more on the personal level than they are like the academic stuff. And maybe
That's
if
true.
you can at least plant that seed that like, this might not be what you think it is. Like, it's not that we don't care about civil rights, and it's not that we don't care about, fairness. Like, we want things to be fair. We want people to have opportunities. We want everyone to be successful. We just don't think that this is the correct way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a discussion on Father's Day. It didn't end well. Everyone left.
Oh no.
It was terrible, actually. Yeah, they weren't having it. They're like, "Oh no, CRT's not everywhere. That's just in your head."
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to keep trying. There's a book I am reading. It's more like a church book, only because it's written by a pastor. I think his name is Bodhi Bachman.
Okay.
And it's called Fault Lines. Like the
I feel
fault
like
lines
I've
of an
heard of
earthquake.
this. Yeah, I feel like I've heard of it.
He has an interesting backstory, but I was more curious about what he thought about CRT, because this book is about CRT, and he exposes like his experience being a Black American, and his version of how CRT is very damaging. So far it's pretty good, but again, it's hard to pinpoint leadership, which I think that's done on purpose in CRT, because they're always going from one thing to another person. It depends on who's hot right now. And in order to produce at least evidence, which is what they want evidence.
Yeah.
It's hard because it's consistently changing.
Exactly. Well, definitely like come back, let us know how that book goes, and just keep trying, and just keep an open mind, and just know that it just takes time, and maybe you'll never get there, but at least you're trying, and that's really what matters at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Have a good rest of your night, okay?
You too.
Bye. All right. Let's see. We got 4 callers in the queue. Okay. M. Joy's son, you are next. Hello. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, I'm Joyce.
You are loud.
Sorry.
That's okay.
But anyway, I just wanted to let you know I've been a good fan of yours, and I've been watching the CRT things. I put your definition of CRT on the top of my Twitter stream.
Excellent.
I had a couple of points. The reason why I did that is because I saw that you were kind of immersed in a little bit of war, almost.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. Yeah.
But at that same time, it's like I really do respect your work, and I do believe that CRT is racist against everybody. But it does have a tendency to hit that outrage button on everybody. What I mean by that is that everyone has their own personal, button that gets pushed by accident. And what I've learned through experience is that you can't change what they say against you. You can only say, or you can only react.
That's very true.
Yeah, and it's been a hard road realizing that. But I had a couple of points that I wanted to talk to you about. But I think that parents need to actually be involved in the education and talk to their kids about critical race theory with their kids. Now, I know that they have to follow through with everything in order to kind of pass, but they can at least give their point of view and kind of balance out what is being taught. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they could. I also think that parents, like the first thing the parents need to do is really just keep a much better eye on what their kids are bringing home, because they're like, it is entirely possible that their kids might not actually be learning this stuff yet. It is entirely possible. Because it's not in like every single class and every single school, right?
Yeah.
It's in a lot of them. It's not in every one, though.
Well, thankfully, it's not in Kansas yet. I live in Olathe, Kansas. It's nearby Kansas City. But anyway, the other one is that I think we've already talked about that. What I don't like is that you spoke about a trial with a person that they were compelled to actually say that they, in order to graduate their high school.
Yes, that's Gabrielle
And
Clark's
that's
case.
really, really sad.
Well, it is, and that's why it is like the first like really viable lawsuit regarding critical race theory in schools in the country. So yeah, no, it is really sad, but eventually they did get an injunction on that, and he was allowed to graduate without saying it. They did try to suspend him though for his troubles, but they didn't get away with it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to kind of say hi, and
well,
I'm glad that you let me on the stream.
Of course. I'm glad you joined this stream. I'm glad you found the definition that I put of critical race theory helpful. I'll probably try to pin that to my Twitter again because that was a good one. But I appreciate that, and I'm glad you haven't been suckered in by it.
Nope. And I really appreciate that. See you later.
Bye. Have a good night. All right. So we have 3 more guests for tonight, unless any last minute people want to join, but I think I'm going to probably cut it off soon because I got other stuff to do. Jenny's getting inky with it, says it's kind of like Antifa. If you can't point out who the leader is, it's harder for people to follow it. Yeah, that's very true. It's all very purposeful. All right, next up, I've been waiting for this one. VT friendly debate. You're going to be nice. You're saying you're friendly in the title, so I'm gonna take your person.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was on my YouTube, and then I saw on Twitter. I just saw you were doing a stream, and I decided to click in, and I don't exactly know what I'm hoping to achieve here, but I just wanted to be friendly and then say hi, because one thing I found very interesting, I've heard you twice. Once was on, I think, Dave Rubin's show, and once was on Sam and the Gothics.
Those are 2 different people, aren't they?
No, of course, and I know the second one ended quite colorfully, but I just I find myself very, in some ways emotionally sympathetic to some of the things that Dave and you have said, because I'm kind of moving in the opposite direction. So I used to be a libertarian. I was a huge Ron Paul supporter, very much against many of the things, very much not race conscious, I would say. And I found myself moving the opposite way. I'm fairly, you could call me woke sympathetic, and if you want, I see a lot of the ideas of, if you want to call it critical race theory, dealing with history, just looking at things from a leftist perspective. And I was wondering if we could find any common ground on that. Because, I find myself moving in the opposite direction. I think one thing is just like, there's a caricature of all the people on the left as just like hysterical, unable to be polite, or, something like that. I didn't want that to be the only side you might see of that side. And so anyway, I'm just saying hi.
Oh, well, no, I appreciate that. And listen, like, I think that I think there are many reasonable people on the left. Sadly, we don't see a lot of them because a lot of times they won't even, like, I was a Democrat for 20 years, right? Like, I know there are reasonable people on the left. The sad thing is that no one will talk to me. So it's like, if no one's willing to engage in a discussion, like, I like having friendly discussions with people I disagree with, but if no one's willing to engage in that discussion, it's kind of like, okay, well, like, if you're not willing to show up, what do you want us to do? But you showed up, and at least, you're trying to present a different image of that. So I guess maybe a question is, like, what's one of the things that you feel like you've changed your perspective on?
So I think for me, it started with just a consciousness of history, a consciousness of race. I was reading a lot of Ta-Nehisi Coates. I found his arguments to be very, very persuasive. I think a lot of people get caught in some of the, I think one of his books was Between the World and Me. It's a fairly emotional book. You can get caught in that. But I think a good place to start would be the case for reparations. Now, it's very, very like that article. It's very, very detailed. It's very concrete. It's not at all it's a very neutral layout of how the history is, like where and I think it's a very important introduction for me to the world of structural racism. I think structural racism means to me that you can be personally very good and very well intentioned, and the structure just moves in a certain way where good, well intentioned people can, it has nothing to do with the personhood. And that's why I think in like a good understanding of quote unquote wokeness, or a good understanding of history, like in the book Racecraft by Barbara and Karen Fields and stuff, it should lead us away from personalizing these conflicts or personalizing history, and just realizing that this is the water we're swimming in. That's the problem. It's not that individual people should be guilted for anything, right? Other than what they do, of course, but that regardless of individual intent, I find a lot of affinity with structural racism, and emotionally it should give us all a sigh of, I don't know if it's a sigh of relief, but it should be like, hey, it's off of it. It's not about screaming at each other at all. So that seems interesting to me. That I think it's taken as, oh no, structural racism means everybody's always really bad and people are malintentioned all the time and America's horrible. But I think two things can be true. Like, without any bad intentions, the system can be bad. And it can also be true. So that can be true at the same time as most people can be, consciously good people. Anyway, sorry.
So no, I mean, I think it might surprise you to learn that I'm actually not completely opposed to reparations. I just think, like, I very much ascribe to the, like, dare I say, Marianne Williamson school of reparations, in that, like, and frankly, I think that Trump was like the biggest idiot on this issue, because he could have taken his platinum plan and everything that he was doing targeting the African American community, and he could have just called it reparations. I don't know why he didn't, because the way that I would be in favor of reparations would be like, let's make strategic investments in previously underserved communities that lifts everyone up and gives everyone access to the most opportunity. I'm completely on board with that. I do have an issue with direct cash payments, mostly because I don't think it would have the long-term benefit that people think it would. I mean, and we can look at lottery winners to say, like, what happens when you get a giant chunk of cash when you're not used to managing money, or you don't know how to do it and you haven't been helped in that area? You're going to squander that opportunity. And, I do have mixed feelings about that, because on one hand, like, I think like adults should act like adults. And if you're going to squander a boat ton of money, that's your business. But on the other hand, I think that if we are, as taxpayers, are going to foot the bill for this, we should be saying we want to get the most bang for our buck. We want to close as many like the disparities as we possibly can. And I think that comes more so with investments that are done strategically. And then call them reparations.
Yeah, and I might disagree with how, calling it reparation. I do think that we need structural investment in the country. I think the point of reparations for me should be the understanding of how selectively, like, for example, like, people talk about, there's this book called When Affirmative Action Was White by Ira Katznelson, about how, home ownership in America was extremely incentivized by the government after the New Deal, and Black people were strategically cut out of that, right? So how about, like, you don't have to go all the way back to slavery. In fact, that's what he does in the article, Ta-Nehisi Coates. Like, there are people who are alive today. Redlining is a real thing. Like, people who had, who paid into the system, who didn't get houses. You take a Black family at the time and a white family at the time who might have purchased houses at the same time, and Black people were not allowed to buy houses. So that's a very, very clear, there's no need to, try too hard to look at. I mean, it's a very clear demonstration of, okay,
that doesn't exist anymore.
Is because of that, right?
But that doesn't exist anymore. We fixed that. Maybe it's not perfect, but We're not we're not a perfect union. We are a more perfect union.
I mean, we want to be, of course, and I do think that I don't want to minimize any progress anyone's made, as Marianne Williamson herself would say. But I mean, if you look today, I think a couple of weeks ago there was a video that came out that talked about a black family listing their house, and a white family listed the same house, the very same house, and the valuation went up by $400,000. Right?
I'd have to look into that. I have not seen that particular video, and so I'm not sure that I necessarily buy that, because I know from buying a home, you don't know what color the homeowner is, and the real estate agent just wants to get as much money as they possibly can for that house. So I don't know if I would have to look into that. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it is true. I just haven't seen it, so I would want more details there.
Understood.
But BT friendly debate, I have to wrap it up in a few minutes. I got a couple more callers, but I do appreciate you calling in, and I appreciate you being friendly, and I hope that we get a chance to chat in the future.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right. Bye. All right, guys, I have removed the call-in from the top of the feed because I'm going to wrap it up after these two callers, and I hope they're good ones. I think this next one is going to be, we have Sleepy Eyes Carter.
Hey,
hello.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You have a good energy about you. I was watching you in the backstage area. I was like, this guy's going to be good.
Are you silly? No, on a serious note, though, and in a good note, I love your work, Ma. Just continue to do what you do. I actually did a video. I don't know if you ever saw it, but encouraging you, because you did a video some time ago where you was like really frustrated with the direction that the Republican Party is going, like just basically like bombing on the cowards, right? You know what I'm saying? That was like your biggest thing. And my biggest thing is this: the conservatives' ideals, Republican Party, it's not going to change overnight. We need voices like you. So I'm a conservative. I'm not a Republican. I'm independent. I changed to independent. I went from Democrat to independent. I don't know why I was a Democrat, just simply because of course, the natural progression of society and how they place you in your buckets and stuff like that. But critical race theory is something that you've been talking about a lot. And I appreciate that. And I do want to say this in regards to that. I think people get a misunderstanding on those who are combating critical race theory. I think they think that we're against like the teaching of slavery, the teaching of racism. That's not the case. No, that's not the case. I think we're all for talking about how legislation, how laws of the past have affected groups of people. My biggest issue is simply this, is number one, if we're going to talk about it, then let's talk about it in the proper sphere, from the width, the depth, and the height, right? So what I mean by that is simply this. Don't just talk about it from how it negatively affected Black people, but let's talk about it how it negatively and positively affected all groups of people within America. So that's the thing. So critical race theory is being pitched as something that just wants to really study the historicity of how laws have affected groups of people. But the undergirdedness of it is that it wants to say that, well, America and everything about it is still systemically racist and oppressive to Black people. So if you're not like colorblind, obviously I'm Black. And I have told many people, I am not oppressed, I'm not a victim, I'm not held back. And I think the thing that they don't realize is simply this: we are opposed to my children sitting in a class with white kids or any other kids, and they're going to be taught this child over here, because of his skin color, has privilege. And here's the thing: if you just simply say that, you secretly also let my children know who are Black that they don't have a privilege, that they're all oppressed, they're the bastard childs of society. I don't teach that in my home. I teach my children that their success is not tied to their skin color. It's tied to their brain, right? I teach them, because you're created in the image of God and after His likeness, you can achieve and subdue your goals and dreams in the wildest fashion you would ever want to. I have a little girl, so according to critical race theory and according to the way that things are being taught, she's like double dipped in the pot of oppression, right? She's a woman, plus she's Black. So, I mean, she's all jacked up, right, in life. But I don't teach my daughter that. I don't put that weight up on her. But last thing, and I'm gonna let you know, because I know you got another caller, sis. But I want your thoughts on this. If we're gonna teach this thing, I'm all for legislation being looked at from a academia perspective. But what if we did it like this? I bet this would tick off a lot of people if we actually did it like this.
All right.
Let's take slavery, for instance. The common theme amongst the Black community is that we were stolen from Africa. That's the common biggest lie to ever tell another person. We weren't stolen from Africa. What if we started the conversation about slavery on this? Slavery at this time was a common commodity in which people of different groups and nations actually made commerce with each other, from prisoners of war, from people that they actually stole from different camps and stuff like that. It was a common means by which I would trade humans for spices. Let's start there. If we started there, it would change the perspective on how we actually look at the trickle effect of what slavery as a whole did. Because then we would have to charge every world with the blood of slave on their hands, right?
Right.
Right? Well, what if we did this? Well, what if we did this? What if we did this? And what if we actually stated that there were, I don't want to get the people group wrong. I don't want to say that they were necessarily Arabian or Arabs or anything like that. But they enslaved more Africans than Europeans. What if we started there? Let's start there. If we're gonna lay the hammer down, let's start there. Well, let's go a little further. Let's take up like my man who was on before you, the friendly debater, which he has some really great points that I think me and you both kind of can understand and agree with, because I love how you said and explained the reparation aspect.
Right.
Let's take for instance affirmative action. I love people who bring up affirmative action, right? So on the positive side, the people who are proponents for affirmative action would say something like this, sis. They would say, yo, it was the means by which the middle class expanded. It's true. And it was the means by which we could get into institutions we probably would have been denied. That's true. Even jobs, true. All right, well, we got to flip the coin, because if we're going to actually study this thing from the full spectrum in which legislation both positively and negatively affects the community, you can't look at the negative to prove your point and dismiss the positive, and you can't look at the positive to prove your point and dismiss the negative. You miss the full picture, because if we want to have equality and equity, we need to actually talk about it from both sides of the spectrum and not just one side of our butt cheeks. So let's take affirmative action for instance, okay, and watch this. Yes, it expanded, but it also was a means by which it lowered the standard by which me as a Black man would reach academic-wise. Therefore, putting me inside a category to where when I was academically mismatched to go to prestigious colleges, I actually would perform at the bottom of the class.
Yep.
Or I would be more of a proponent to be dropping out of said class. But when California went to a blind basis of you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. It basically was on your academic merit, right? They noticed that people who were Black and Latino actually performed better in schools they was academically matched with. But then they also noticed this, the dropout rate decreased, because it's almost like taking a high school ninth grader and putting him into an NBA league and expecting him to perform at the optimal elite level that these people play at, right? He wouldn't be third bench, he'd be water boy probably, because he wouldn't be able to compete. Now, there will be some exceptions to the rule, but you don't take the exceptions of a small percentage, meaning that you don't take 1% and make legislation off of 1% to govern the 99. You don't do that, right?
Right.
It's not logical aspects of things.
It's a law of unintended consequences. They don't think through these things. And it's like, and it's also, I mean, I can also imagine too, like, you know, even like, let's just say that you were the exception to the rule and you were like highly academically qualified and maybe you know, let's just say that affirmative action was the reason you got into the school, even though maybe you were the exception. Wouldn't you always be questioning of like, why did I end up in that? Was it really because I earned it? Was it really because I work hard, or was it because of the color of my skin? Because I'll tell you what, like, you know, as you know, before the pandemic, I was doing a lot of keynote speaking, and there was this trend with conferences where all like conferences were saying we're only going to hire women speakers. And on one hand, it's like, okay, cool. I mean, that's more job opportunities. But on the other hand, I was like, I don't want to be hired because I'm a woman. I want to be because I've worked really hard to get really good at this, and I want to be hired because I'm the absolute best person to do it. And I found the whole thing really offensive, to be honest.
Well, the interesting thing is, and this is my issue with a lot of the stuff that is going on, is, and I push back on it. Like I do my Facebook lives and I push back on it. I make my posts and push back on it. And what I see is, in the effort to want to be accepted for being an American, it seems as if we're putting race before the horse, but we're thinking that is going to get us to the means of the end, when it just causes more division. But not only that, the aspect of it is just simply this. And people might disagree with me saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I don't give two red cents to a nickel out of a fish's mouth, to be honest with you. There is no such thing as equality. in the spectrum of what we're trying to reach. There will to create equality, you must create inequality. It's an inevitable cycle, right? But it's how you go about it. The only thing America, as a constitutional aspect of society, should promise and should protect, as far as our constitutional rights, is justice, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, all those things under the Constitution. But you being I'll give you an example. I represent 13% of the population.
Right.
We're trying to fit 13% of the population into all these different categories. Like where the lie at? Where the lie at, Craig? We're trying to fit 13% of our population into every single facet of successful life.
Right.
Of successful life. Okay, we're underrepresented in this. We need to have, and so what you do is you end up diminishing the competitive value of achieving a goal. Because back to affirmative action, if we're going to teach it all the way, then we also have to teach that Asians, who are some of the top money percenters, which is one of the smallest minority groups in America, outperforms financially, outperforms educationally. And they're suing schools because they are not being allowed to enter to the schools because they're trying to actually increase their demographics of Black people or Hispanics, to increase the numbers simply because you want to look like you're part of the woke mob or look like you're part of the crew. It doesn't mean that you're really down. And I always tell this to people. When corporations start taking notice of your movement, you might want to be cautious because they see a cash grab. Right. They're not down for you. They're down to either protect their bottom line or they see a means by which they can increase their bottom line. And last thing, and I'm gone, sis, I'm serious on this.
That's okay.
The Arizona. Shout out to the Supreme Court. Arizona. Shout out to the Supreme Court for upholding Arizona voting laws. I don't understand how the voting laws that Arizona has put in. I live in Georgia. The Department of Justice is suing the Georgia state legislature because of their voting law. I read that voting law. I went live on my Facebook and I told them straight up and down, my people, because a lot of the people I politic are either liberal or leaning, and we're not talking about the actual what a liberal is, but they're liberal leaning towards more so the left. But I was like, I see nothing wrong with telling a person that you have to show ID. Like, who the heck and who the why? And stop using so I'll give you an example. When they bring up like voting laws that deal with minorities in a negative way, and they're talking about like having to get voter registration or voter IDs and having to show your birth certificate and all that stuff, they always bring up the bald-headed, wig-wearing, no teeth having grandma that lives out there in somebody's country backwoods that honestly is like 9,500 years old. They never bring up a 33-year-old or a 40-year-old. They always bring up the old woman that can't find the candy at the bottom of her purse. No disrespect to the old people on the stream. I'm just saying that's the example they give us all the time and everything like that. But I love PragerU because they actually send out people to do interviews and people, it's like, who doesn't have an ID? I talk to my kids about this stuff all the time. You was just speaking about talking to your children. No, somebody was just on here and you was even talking about it, talking to your children on a level where you're talking about this. So me and my children have open conversations, and we've been having open conversations for years about a lot of different stuff. And I'm amazed that they have a mind frame of that don't make no sense without me tainting their ideas of what makes or doesn't make sense. Because I just present them with the facts. I don't present them with the tainted ideal of the facts.
Well, you've taught them how to think and not what to think, it sounds like. Hey, listen, is this your YouTube channel right here? Crackpots?
Yeah, that's me. That's
you.
That's me.
Well, we've got your YouTube channel, Pimp. You have got a lot of new fans in the chat. They're really excited. They want me to clip this, and I assure you I will. And I'll link to your channel when we do that. But thank you for
appreciate that. Keep giving them the businesses. Don't quit. You better not stop. I'm gonna put my foot knee deep up in your behind. Please don't stop because you opened up my eyes for a lot.
Keep me accountable, okay?
Yes,
I appreciate that.
A lot. Be safe. Peace.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Oh man, how awesome is he? Oh, I love him. I love this. Like, call-ins just got so much better. All right, Political Patty, you're the last call-in for tonight. What's going on, Political Patty?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
So far so good. I loved him. He was wonderful.
Yes, he's great.
Well, I wanted to talk to you just in regards. I wanted to pump you up and let you know that I am a conservative, and I'm like 1,000 years old, but that's okay. Point being, you rock. Don't you dare stop and I mean it. I'm yelling at you, lady, because I want you to understand. I know I'm crazy. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But
That's
no,
okay.
I want you to know we love you out here. We need you out here. I have three. I hate to say this, but it's sort of weird. I have three white children, Caucasian, whatever color you want to say. And then I have one biracial son. He is my youngest. I absolutely adore him. But then I look at this crap that's going on, the CRT. That crap is sickening. My son is a biracial, he's an adult. But my point is, how do you see we are not a white and a black, a brown or Hispanic or Asian country. We are a blended, beautiful, colored, whatever you want to say, country. We have to not put these children that are biracial or whatever, half Asian, half, Caucasian or half black or whatever. We can't do that to them. Can you see the emotional destruction it will do to them? To like, oh, well, my other part of me is pretty sucky.
Yeah. It's
How
awful.
dare they?
How dare they? I think that that's a really good question. How dare they? How dare they teach this in schools? How dare they teach children to identify with one half of themselves and not the other half of themselves? It's evil.
And you know what? How did I raise 4 great kids that have done wonderful in their lives? That have grown up to not see, oh, well, this person's that color, so we have to, it's like living in a freaking color crane box. I'm sick of it. I am a mom who loves my son, and I love my other kids. They're wonderful kids. They grew up with their little brother. Let's put it this way, if anybody would have said something to him, and some people have, but that's when they were younger, they did get into some fights. They protected their little brother because they saw him as their brother, not anything, not a particular color, not this, not that, blah, blah, blah. And so this garbage is just got to stop. You cannot destroy these kids that are biracial, or if they've grown up in a family with different, races in it because they've been adopted, yada, yada. There's a whole story behind every person. How dare they? And I want you, please, to keep fighting. I know, I wish I could fight with you. Unfortunately, I don't know how to. I mean, I'm literally not joking. I want to fight because I'm sick of it, because I can see the hurt and the mental abuse this can actually cause. We already have enough mental problems, and I know you got to go, and I'm sorry. I'm going to shut up. I want you to know we love you and we need you out here. And I'm not, and please don't think all Republicans are assholes. And excuse my language. Sorry. But I saw the video when you were fighting those 2 ignorant retardo people. Oh no, that's a bad word. Bad word. Sorry. No, I didn't mean to say that. But
you said it with the O on the end, so I think it's okay as long as you say it with the O on the end.
I'm so sorry. No, those idiot conservative Christian people. I'm a Christian, but I don't deal with that crap. My point is you are a rock star to me. I care about you. I think you're a wonderful person, and I don't know your husband, but I'm sure he's a great man too. But how dare they for attacking you and your husband? That was jerky. And I don't claim people like that. They're evil. They're not the Christians that should be. Let's put it this way. So please don't take them as examples, because I'm a cussing Christian and I'm not a very good one, but that's okay. God still loves me. But point being, I'm going to shut up, and I really care about you, and thank you for being out there, and understand we need, and if you ever, want to yell at me, I am political Patty on, let's see, What am I on anymore? I don't even know. No, I'm on so many because we've been, thrown off. I've been thrown off Facebook 5 times, but
Oh, wow.
anyway, we won't discuss that.
That's all right. Well, we
so
can
anyway,
we can look for you in the chat.
Yeah, I thank you. Okay.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the encouragement. And just know, like by speaking up, like you're fighting back simply by speaking up. Like like you told your story eloquently about the impact that this could have on your family, and that's doing something. And these are things that everyone should be doing. And if more people did the little things, even just calling in and telling your story now, that's something. It's more than a lot of people are doing. And so, thank you for sharing your story with us, and thank you for giving me a good kick in the pants. I need it every once in a while because I do tend to hear more from the really bad people than the good ones, And I know that not all Republicans and conservatives are bad people. Like, I'm well aware. I think a lot of Republicans and conservatives are great people. I just wish they'd stop voting for horrible candidates.
Amen. Yeah, and you know what? I am so pumped. I want to get a YouTube channel, but I know they'll probably throw me off within 5 seconds because I would really say what I felt. But anyway, so like I said tonight, but we have to fight. We got to keep fighting. We can't stop. And I know not everybody loves Trump or anything, but I mean, I'm a Trumper. But that's, because I want jobs. I want things that are good for I have kids. I have to think about them. I'm an adult, or they're adults. But my point is that we've got to keep fighting because I don't want my grandkids to grow up in the crappy shithole that they intend on making my country. Yeah. And my father fought in World War II, and no.
Well, we're going to keep going, Patty. And, that's all we can do, right? That all we can do is keep putting one foot forward in front of the other. And I really appreciate you calling in tonight. And again, like giving me the encouragement. I know it might not seem like I need encouragement sometimes, but sometimes I really do. And it's been a couple of tough weeks. I'll tell you what, it's been a couple of tough weeks. So I definitely appreciate it. And what a great call to end on for the night. So thank you for joining me.
Sorry for cussing. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right, girl. You take care and join me again on another call in the future, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. I'm gonna kick everyone out of the studio. I'm sorry. I gotta wrap things up. But Naruto says, have you contacted Glenn Beck about Gabs? I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're referring to about Gabs GFM. But you can DM me that info and I can see. I haven't contacted Glenn in a while, so I don't know what that is though. All right, guys, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you for spending a couple hours with me. I think we had some great calls. Again, I was like a little disappointed we didn't get any trolls. I feel like I'm leaving the door open. I even scheduled this in advance. They had time to plan. They had like 2 hours to plan their attack. I even said I'm going to be doing call-ins, and they didn't show up. But you all showed up and spent some time with me, and I appreciate that. And if you want to spend some more time with me, you can join my Locals community. My Locals is the best place on the internet. Many of the people in the chat right now are members of my Locals. They'll be able to talk to you about how awesome it is. There are no trolls allowed. It is a very supportive community where you're going to be able to come in, be able to express yourself, be able to have engaging conversations with other awesome people. We do 2 Zoom calls a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're doing a Stitch and Bitch. We're a Craft and Bitch on Saturday. We're doing a debate club. We're doing a book club. We're reading Andy No's book right now, Unmasked. You can come and join the fun at, hang on, let me get my banner. kb.locals.com/support. You can join for $5 a month, or you get 2 free months by joining as an annual member. I greatly appreciate it. It helps support the work I do. As a reminder, we've got a live stream tomorrow, and the live stream is our usual happy hour, which is our Friday at 3:00 Eastern time. I drink some beer and we watch a diversity training, and tomorrow we're watching a big one. We're watching, this is a 2-hour training. 2 hours. I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way through this one, but we're going to do Ibram X. Kendi, who is one of the big guns, one of the people that says the craziest things. And you can find that tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern on the channel. I mean, you can join probably up to like 7. We're going to probably be going for a while. I hope Victor brought me a lot of beer, because I'm probably going to need it. And in addition to that, please make sure you subscribe to my second channel, Actively Unwoke. That's youtube.com/actively unwoke. I'm going to be adding more content to that channel. I'm not doing it every day right now because I'm finishing a book. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of stuff I'm going to do some writing now that I've done the stream for the night because I write until like 2, 3 in the morning. But I'm going to be working on that. But please join the second channel, because if I get like a strike or something stupid happens on my first channel, then at least I have the second one where I can reach out and communicate with you guys. All right, everyone, I hope you had a great time. I will definitely be doing call-ins again. I really like call-ins. I really enjoy talking to you guys. I think it's fun. And I can't wait to see like who's going to call in the future. That's going to be awesome. But until tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, I will see you guys back here. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.